Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, Instagram fam, friends and followers of as-Saafiy. And welcome to another episode of Revert Reflections. And so yesterday we were talking about one of the aspects of believing, or one of the elements of believing in al-Wahy, the concept of divine revelation. And one of the things that we said, or one of the things that we mentioned, was that the belief, or we have to believe, that if not for Allah's guidance through revelation, we would not be guided. Basically, we could not figure out religion on our own. And we mentioned the ayah yesterday to support this, or we mentioned one ayah yesterday to support this. And there are many ayat in the Quran which emphasize this point. We'll mention another one today. And that's the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He says, مَن يَهْدِ اللَّهُ فَهُوَ الْمُهْتَدِ وَمَن يُضْلِلْ فَلَن تَجِدَ لَهُ وَلِيًّا مُرْشِدًا. Whoever Allah guides is guided, and whoever He leaves astray, you will not find anyone to show him the right way. So brothers and sisters, what are the implications, or what are some of the implications of this belief? The belief that had it not been for Allah's guidance through revelation, we would not have been guided. So one of the implications is that if we truly want to be guided in this world, if we really want to follow guidance and reach our ultimate destination, which is Allah's pardon and His paradise, then we should actively consult Allah's revelation, since it's the only source of guidance, the only correct source of guidance. Like a person, if we think about the days before they had something called GPS, a person who was going to go to a place that he'd never been to, what would he do? He would get a map and consult that map, and he would regularly consult it throughout his journey until he arrived at his destination to make sure that he didn't get lost. Nowadays, when we're going someplace that we've never been before, what do? We get out that GPS and we plot the course. We don't just say, you know what, I'm gonna use the force. I'm gonna feel my way through this and try to get where I'm trying to get to on instinct. We don't do that. We actively consult the GPS to avoid getting lost. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages us to do, in fact, demands that we do in the Quran itself. He says, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. He says, if there should come to you some guidance from me, then whoever consults and follows my guidance will never go astray in this world or suffer in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, oh believer, if you want to avoid getting lost spiritually in this world and avoid suffering in the hereafter, then follow the GPS of Allah. Follow the guidance of Allah. Follow the divine revelation which He has revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. The second implication I'll mention, I'll close with this one, is that if we believe that we would not be guided if not for Allah's guidance through divine revelation, then we shouldn't ignore Allah's guidance and choose instead to rely on our instincts, our presumed intelligence, or our common sense. Brothers and sisters, it is not possible for us to know anything about Allah or what pleases Him in matters of religion except by consulting and following His guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us as much in the Quran. He says, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. And they cannot attain any knowledge of Him, or knowledge that He has of what is right and wrong in matters of religion, except what He wills and chooses to teach them. Meaning, if we go it alone, we'll never get the knowledge. We'll never get the right understanding. We'll never be able to follow the right path, because the only way that we can get this knowledge of Allah and knowledge of what pleases Him in matters of religion is through what He chooses to teach us. And so we won't know, brothers and sisters. For example, we could never know if we just went on instincts or our presumed intelligence or our common sense. That would not allow us to know how to cleanse ourselves and prepare ourselves for prayer. This system of cleansing ourselves and purification for prayer, in the cases of minor hadith, minor impurities or major impurities, right? Major ritual impurity, minor ritual impurity. The methods that we use, al-wudu, ablution, al-ghusl. How could we come up with that and reach that conclusion on our own? Also, when to pray. How often to pray. 5 times a day at these specific times or parts of the day. How could we know this on our own? In what manner to pray. The system of prayer that was revealed to us and taught to us by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, how could we know this on our own? How to begin the prayer with a takbir, Allahu Akbar, and end the prayer with a taslim, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How could we know this, etc. and so on, brothers and sisters, if we just went on our own, relied on our common sense or our presumed intelligence? And it's not just the prayer, brothers and sisters. It's not just the prayer. There are so many aspects of faith that we have a tendency as Muslims to base upon what feels right instead of what has been revealed. We have a tendency, brothers and sisters, when it comes to so many aspects of faith, things that Allah and His Messenger have spoken on, we have a tendency to go on our own, do it our way, and say, this feels right. This, it makes sense, instead of following the revelation. And we can go into so many different things, even what we're, the times that we live in right now, the times that we're in right now, the so-called holiday season. Should we celebrate? Shouldn't we celebrate? And we see people doing what feels right to them on these issues. It feels right to give thanks. It feels right to participate in Thanksgiving because our religion is a religion of giving thanks. So again, it's not what the revelation said. It's what feels right to me as an individual Muslim, what makes sense to my rational mind. Brothers and sisters, this is not the behavior of someone who believes in the concept of divine revelation. Someone who believes in the concept of divine revelation, it's not how they would behave. Even if they just believe in the concept generally, and it's certainly not the way that someone would behave, it's certainly not the way that someone would behave if they believe in the Quran and Sunnah specifically, if they believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed the Quran and revealed the Sunnah, given us these wahyan, given us these 2 revelations to be what? To be our GPS. To help us to find the path and to be guided in this world and to avoid suffering in thereafter. If we really believe that, we wouldn't behave like that. More on that, brothers and sisters, in the coming days. Until then, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as always to bless your houses, to bless your spouses, to bless your families and your children, to bless your sources of livelihood and income. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bi asma'ihi al-husna wa sifatihi al-ula to surround you with His protection and to shower you with His blessings. Hada wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.